Howdy y'all, it's Mark from Camping Forge here, and I'm going to do, in today's video, I'm going to do a quick demonstration of a cowboy camping setup. So cowboy camping is slang for camping without a tent. There's two main reasons why people camp without a tent. Most common is backpacking. If you are backpacking in an area that's got nice weather and there isn't a lot of bugs, then you can save a lot of weight by avoiding carrying a tent. And if you're not a backpacker, that just sounds very strange, but I can tell you, after going into the Chisos Mountains carrying 8 liters of water plus 10 pounds of food plus clothing in my pack, going up and down several thousand feet in Big Bend, these ounces add up, and that's actually why I cowboy camped through Big Bend. And so I'm actually going to demonstrate my setup, though I'm camping out in East Texas, so this is not what West Texas looks like. A lot more trees and grass out here. Here is the basic setup of how I cowboy camp. You'll see the white ground covering, ground cloth, tarp, if you want to call it. It's actually a sheet of Tyvek. So Tyvek is the most commonly, you'll see it, it's the weatherproofing they'll put around a house while they're building it. And you can get some as scrap from a construction site, or you can go down to Home Depot and buy a bunch of it, or they even make it now where it's pre-cut to be used and has grommets in it to be used for camping, and that's what I have. And you'll see I have my sleeping bag. Then you can see here, in this case, I have my sleeping pad, my closed cell hard sleeping pad, as opposed to my inflatable. You could use an inflatable, not a problem. Here is my bug net I can put over me if I wanted to keep like mosquitoes and no-see-ums off of me. And then I have my pillow right here. This is a much fancier pillow than actually I carry backpacking. I slept on my clothes as my pillow. I also have an inflatable, but wanted to be clear that you can use a pillow when you're cowboy camping. And that's the reason why people get really nervous about cowboy camping, but I've also shared many a tent with a spider. I remember, you're out, they say you're always within 5 feet of a spider, so particularly when you're outdoors. So when we cowboy camp, there are 3 things we have to consider, and most importantly is, what are we going to do if it rains? So I'm going to show you how you can put a tarp over you. I'm actually going to use the Teton tarp poncho for this demonstration. It's, as the name sounds, it's a poncho, but it's like an extra large, and has grommets on it so that you can set it up to be a shelter for you. It's a great piece of backpacking gear, or if you're into the survival prepping space, it's great for that as well, because a couple ounces, and it provides rain gear plus shelter that can be shoved into your pack. The second thing we'll worry about is bugs, but as I already showed you, we have a bug net I can put on me, or a lot of times I say, if you know you're in heavy mosquito area, a lot of people just won't cowboy camp. They'll go ahead and put on use a tent. The third thing that people freak out about is animals. All right, when you're cowboy camping, we practice just general bear camping safety, so no food or in our sleeping area. If you're in bear territory, we either hang our food or put in a bear locker if you have one available to you. The small critters, they're probably just going to leave you alone anyway. It's something like a mouse or something wants to come sniff you, you just flick it. Now, some of you are now probably going, you're probably shivering to yourselves, but I have experience with this, but not camping in my own home. One time when we were just after we moved into our house, the subdivision was built on old pasture land, and we had a mouse problem for a few months. And as a result, one night, a mouse decided to be really adventurous, crawled in my bed, crawled across my face, and woke me up. And yes, I was screaming like a horror movie. So anyway, I've never had a mouse crawl on me while camping. Third thing, people then will say, well, Mark, you're just going to keep the rattlesnakes warm. Snakes aren't going to come anywhere near you while you're sleeping on the ground. You are not their prey. They don't want to have anything to do with humans. So unless you go actively looking for them, snakes just not going to bother you while you're sleeping on the ground. And before somebody says, well, I saw so-and-so do something so-and-so, I'm gonna let you know that I've researched the heck out of this and I've never found a documented case of anybody having a snake crawl into their sleeping bag while they're sleeping on the snake's own idea. Meaning, sure, there's those snake hunter stuff that they'll do for a gag or a demonstration where they'll intentionally put a snake in a sleeping bag. But other than that, never seen it before. And there you go. I have my tarp shelter set up using the Teton poncho tarp setup, where I've tied out all 6 of the tie outs for the stakes. Plus I have my trekking poles set up. You of course could tie these to trees or even set up a ridge line so you'd have a more firm or straight center going over your A-frame. You could even put this into a C-frame configuration, which is great for if you had a little campfire next to you to turn your shelter into a little oven. But here's since I'm in a little clearing on the prairie, and I just use my trekking poles to set up the shelter. It's also great for if I decide to go take this on another backpacking trip. I know I could use this, and it's already ready to go since I already have my guide wires tied into the grommets. Yeah, I used some cordage to tie in here so that way when I use my trekking pole, I have enough, it allows me to actually raise the shelter up so that I can crawl in and out. So this would keep me dry from the rain. And so now you know how to set up your cowboy camp site. And of course, don't ever forget to go out without some kind of way to provide a cover for you if it starts raining or, God forbid, snowing on you while you're out cowboy camping. All right, thanks for watching. Till next time, bye-bye.